think is it recording? Yep, it is. Okay, here we go. So yeah, I'm outside and I couldn't tell if it was recording because I've got the sun in my face, which is awesome. It's a beautiful day. And we're going to talk about the plague of perfectionism. So let me organize my thoughts, because I have noticed that since I have become so comfortable with getting in front of the camera, I'm often jumping on here and talking so fast and allowing my thoughts to be so jumbled. And that's fine, that's no problem at all, except for the fact that it can confuse some of you who are not used to the way that I speak. So let me slow down intentionally and organize my thoughts when it comes to this topic of the plague of perfectionism. So I'm going to start it by talking about three different kinds of people. And there's probably more. I don't think everyone is going to fit into these three categories, but this is how my brain is going to start off with structuring this conversation. So when I'm talking about the plague of perfectionism, I call it a plague intentionally, and I call it, and I'm speaking about it in such a broad way because I do believe that, at least in the United States, it is something that is pervasive. It is something that is very tempting and convincing, and it's something that is impacting all ages, all types of people, and yeah, I'll just leave it there. So, this is something that's going on so many different levels. People are not realizing it. And so let me define what I call perfectionism. To me, perfectionism is a thought pattern and a belief system that says things should be done, or things should look a certain way, and that certain way, and I should have had this definition written down before I got on here. Well, how will I define it? Yeah, y'all know what perfectionism is. Okay, so y'all know what it means when something is perfect. Something that is perfect does not have any flaws, right? It's perfect. And so let's leave it there. It's flawless, right? No imperfections. It's just, perfect, obviously. So I'm being so redundant right now. So with that being said, what we are doing in our society is we are trying to live perfect lives in general, and that is broken up into perfect careers, perfect relationships when it comes to romance, whether it's your romantic partner or you as a parent or you as a child or as a sister or as a friend. And then perfect lifestyles too when it comes to the type of house you have and the type of car you drive. And so let me balance this out. I'm not saying that people should not aspire to achieve great things. We should aspire, to have good grades in school, and to have a nice home and a nice car and all those good things. But what's happening is, since we have such a high standards being imposed upon all of us, they're so high and they're so unachievable because perfection is, never in reality, so that's just just something that's unattainable. So since these standards of perfectionism are so high, what we are doing, unfortunately, is we're not loving ourselves enough, and that lack of love and that disconnect is creating physical and mental reactions in our body. And so that's why, if you think about the United States, we could talk about how there are so many great things. There are so many great things about the United States and this country, so I'm not going to downplay that. But why is it that if there are so many great things in America, why are we so sad? Why are many of us so depressed? What is going on? Yes, I guess the standard of living, the research shows that the standard of living has increased with time. So that is awesome. Let's not downplay that. It's nice that we do have an increased standard of living. That's great. But it seems to be coming at a cost that's not worth it. If the standard of living is increasing, and yet we're not any happier or healthier, we're not living longer, then is that worth it? Because at the end of the day, most people, we say that we want the house, we want the car, we want the career. But at the end of the day, what we want is happiness. And so we want happiness, we want freedom, we want all those things. And so we say that, okay, this career is going to bring me happiness. This house is going to bring me happiness. This car is going to bring me happiness. Or this person is going to bring me happiness. So if we're not getting happier and healthier, what is going on? And I do believe it's a plague of perfectionism. So let me go back to the beginning when I said, let's break it down into those 4 types of people. One, you have the person, which I think is rare. You have the person who kind of on the surface looks like a looks like a perfectionist. So they are a high achiever. They seem to do it without that much effort and struggle. What else can you say about them? I'm sorry, I'm getting a little distracted by somebody passing in the neighborhood, looking at me. Hey, I'm just doing a video. Someone passing in the car. So anyways, so the first person is someone who might be a perfectionist, but they're a healthy perfectionist. They are someone, they know how to achieve high standards consistently without sacrificing their happiness and health. I find that to be quite rare. I find that most people who are trying to live perfect little lives when it comes to their career and their family and their friends and their cars and all these things and lifestyle, those people typically are not as happy and or not as healthy. And so anyways, category 1 is people who have defied the odds and they are achieving close to perfection standards in all areas of their life without sacrificing their happiness and health. The second category that I'll put myself in, I am a perfectionist. I don't say it with pride anymore, but it's something that I'm trying to let go of. But in my category, you have people who are high achievers, and it does somewhat come naturally. So some people would say type A people who naturally just, they're given a mission, whether it's to get an A in a class or to get the job done or to be a good parent or, whatever, or partner. And we assess the situation, we collect some data, and hey, we know how to solve that problem. The only thing about people like me, I will say over the years, I haven't been extremely stressed or, haven't sacrificed my happiness and all those things to a great extent, but it definitely has had an impact on, me. So I'm a moderate stressor, so I think when I'm in perfection mode, I do feel the effects. I feel tension in my neck. I feel, tension in my back. I might have more headaches. But one of the things that I actually do in this category, I'm the kind of person, unfortunately, when I'm trying to be a perfect mom, perfect everything, perfect career, I used to sacrifice my relationships. So I'm the kind of person that, although I love the people in my family, when I'm trying to be that perfect person, I'm not going to spend the time with my husband. I'm not going to spend the time with my kids. I'm not even going to spend time with myself the way I need to. And so that comes at a cost, and relationships matter. And so that's why even if I'm not stressing and I'm not the person who physically gets, beat down from being a perfectionist, I am someone who sacrifices relationships, and that's not cool. And that's not what I want to do. And that's not the life I plan to live. And so I'm learning to let go of all of the standards that I put on myself, that others place on me, that society puts on you, so that I can live a more balanced life and have time to have a great career, but with time. I don't have to do everything overnight, and to have time for my husband and my kids and for myself, and time to just have fun and travel and all that good stuff. So just discuss 2 of the 4 types. You have type 1, which are the rare breeds who are able to be a perfectionist without sacrificing their happiness, health, and relationships. You have people like me who are perfectionists, and we're aware of it, and we choose to, maybe not on a conscious level, it could be subconscious, but we know that we're perfectionists. We get this stuff, we get a lot achieved, but it often comes at a cost, whether it's our health and or our relationships. And then you have another group. This other group, they would never call themselves perfectionists, but I have come across a ton of people that actually have extremely high standards. But it's sneaky because it's not obvious. But what they do, instead of the first 2 groups who are going to go out here and still kill it, and it's obvious that we're type A, it's obvious that we're perfectionists, you have another group of people that have that same thought pattern and belief system of perfection, but what they do is they avoid so much in life. They say, well, since I cannot have a perfect family, then I'm not going to have a family at all. Since I cannot have a perfect, dream business or entrepreneur, whatever it is, whatever your dream is in the career world, since I can't do that perfectly, you know, I'm afraid that I can't do it with perfection, then I'm just not going to do it all. Just whatever. I'm not going to live my dreams. Same thing with other categories. So there's a lot of people that would never call themselves perfectionists, but what they're doing is allowing society and a lot of people in their lives and themselves to put such high standards upon them that they just are folding, and they're not taking action, and they're not engaging with the life that they want. And so what is the risk and the effect of that? The effect of that is that, just like the other group that I just mentioned, the group that I'm in, you're either stressing because you're not living the life you want. You know, you're avoiding all these things. You're avoiding the family that you want, or the relationship that you want, or the career that you want. And it feels a little good because you feel like you have control. I think that was just a bird. Y'all know how I am when I'm outside. Yeah, that was just a bird. All right, birdie, be nice. Don't be scaring me. So you're avoiding all these things, and it brings you a little bit of relief because of that perfectionist in you. Even though you don't see yourself as a perfectionist, this is the group where you're avoiding everything because of your perfectionistic standards, and it brings you a little bit of relief in the short term because you're like, whew, since I'm never going to follow my dreams, I'm not going to stress about that. Whew, since I'm never going to, get married or have a relationship or have kids, I don't got to stress about that. So it brings you a little bit of relief. But in the long term, let's be honest, deep down, you know what you want. And that disconnect between what you really want and your choices is creating stress and dissatisfaction, a lack of happiness. So that's the third group. The last group, I don't know what group 4 is. What is group 4? I guess group 4 is those the people who truly aren't. No, I thought it was 4 types of perfectionists. Look at me. That's why I need to do my notes. I need to do some notes before I do these videos. The 4th type of person, I'll describe them if it comes to me. But the 3 that I wanted to highlight is the rare breed, which, hey, kudos to you if you're that rare breed who you have such high standards and you can execute in all areas of your life, your family, your friends, career, blah, 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 health, looks, all that good stuff, without sacrificing how you really feel on the inside. And you're genuinely happy and you're genuinely able to balance it out. Kudos to you. Wow. Let me know how you do it. Second group is people like me who are perfectionists. We're aware of it. And we often sacrifice our health or our relationships or whatever, to try to achieve those unachievable standards. And then you have the third group, which is the secret perfectionists who are avoiding so much in life because they have such high standards that aren't necessary. So what do? What we do is we realize that so much more, which sounds like I'm about to contradict myself, but so much more can be done with less. Less is more. That is a very common expression. So yes, less is more. When we let go of all of those high standards and really focus on what really matters to us, we're going to realize we can perfect or nearly perfect a few things, but not everything. And that's okay. That's the beauty of life. That is going to take so much weight off your shoulders when you realize you're not supposed to be the perfect mother. You're not supposed to be the perfect friend. You're not supposed to be the perfect partner and perfect, career. No, it's not supposed to be perfect. Okay. And, if I'm going to go a little bit deeper to make sure I'm explaining this and capturing this right, I want to talk about stress levels in the American. I don't know if this study or if this research is relevant to other cultures, but I know it's definitely when it comes to Americans, and it's all age groups. There's research that shows our kids, even in elementary, middle, and high school, so these young kids, their cortisol levels are similar, the same, or sometimes even higher than men who have previously. Okay, let me say this right. We have children that have cortisol levels. That is the stress hormone. That when it's accumulated in your body too much, it does not the best things for you. It can lead to, disease and other things. So the cortisol level in our kids, and of course in adults, is comparable to what military men had while they were at war. I don't know how many decades ago, but we're talking about decades ago when you had men in the army who literally knew they have a job that is life or death, and they captured that cortisol level. There was researchers back then already doing that. They know that, okay, well, look, they're on the front line or they're in the military. They know they're in a difficult life or death situation. Let's capture this research. What does cortisol do in your body? So back then they did that. Let's say the number was 80, whatever. I don't know what the technical word is, but they had 80 of, cortisol in their body at that time. Fast forward to 2019, we have children and adults that have the same or more cortisol in their body as men who are fighting a war and their life was on the line. Why is that happening? That is because our brain and our body works a certain way. That is because the brain does not know the difference between a real life or death situation and a paper that's due for school, or a boss that has high expectations, or whatever. So basically what's happening is, because of the plague of perfectionism, we're trying to get all A's. We're trying to be perfect in our careers. We're trying to be the perfect partner. And our body is like, I'm like in survival mode. I can't do this because it's so much pressure to be so perfect. And the cortisol is building and it's building. And that's why you have, in this day and age where so much should be preventable health-wise, that's why you have so much mental illness and people with physical illness, because of the plague of perfectionism, the cortisol, the negative hormones that are being pumped through our body, because we're pressuring ourselves so much. And I say pressuring ourselves because, yes, we have a choice, but I will say in the American culture, it is definitely societal, and it starts young, and that's very unfortunate. We should not be training our kids to have so much pressure about grades. And I won't even talk about the school system, because that's not to knock the school system. They are, teachers are underpaid, and that's a underfunded area anyway, so won't get into that. But that's why this conversation matters, because we are meant to live happy lives. We are meant to be healthy. We are meant to be fulfilled, and it's possible, but we have got to let go of the plague of perfectionism. It's just not getting us anywhere. Obviously, it's not. I think, I don't got to beat that. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Oh, no, I wanted to talk about that piece, but I also wanted to mention the whole looks thing. So we have the careers. We have the perfectionism when it comes to how we're supposed to be in our careers, and then, who you are as a romantic partner, and then if you have kids, who you are as a parent, and then as a friend, right? And then what about physical looks? What about what the media has been telling us for decades upon decades about how thin, or big you're supposed to be? I say thin or big because you're supposed to have big. As a woman, certain areas of your body should be big, but the other part should be, tight and thin. And even after having kids, you're supposed to, snap it back and all that good stuff when it comes to your shape. And it's just so much for women, and actually men too. I mean, I know there's a lot of research that shows that women in the media and what we're taught is a lot different and more pressure than men, but men are supposed to, not all of them are, obviously none of us are, most of us are not achieving these standards, but men and women are having pressure on them to look a certain way. Men are supposed to be the strong, muscular man, but what if you're not the most muscular guy, and you're being kind of judged a certain way by a lot of women because of what the media is portraying. So anyways, yes, looks is a whole nother thing. So on top of our careers, on top of our relationships, we're supposed to be perfect looking, when it comes to makeup and our physical appearance and our hair. And then, different racial groups have different expectations. And so obviously, well, not obviously, because I could be different things depending, but I do look African American, and I am. But as an African American woman, you got to think about the history and, well, not just women. I would say minorities in general. I feel like if you think about assimilation and if you think about history, there was a time when looking a certain way, and still to this day, actually, there's always still to this day, looking a certain way, and molding to what society expects you to look like can work to your advantage. Okay. Hate to say it, but it's true. You getting a job and doors being open, and a lot of you probably know this, is not just based off of your skills and resume credentials. A lot of it is what you look like. It's just human nature for people to be judged on their looks. So it's not to say we shouldn't care about how we look and, take care of ourselves, but it's to say that the physical perfectionism of being beautiful and muscular and strong and all these things is just, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And we should not put that pressure upon ourselves. So what I will try to conclude this up with, because y'all know when I got time, when my phone say I got 20, 30 minutes to talk, I know how to talk for 20 to 30 minutes. So what I will say in conclusion is that for me, letting go of the perfectionism ideal has been so freeing. Now, it's definitely been a process. It's definitely been some years. And for most people, once you've been living a certain way for so long and you've had so much pressure from so many different angles on you, often it takes some time, to unwind that. But it's not to say that you can't do it quicker. But yeah, letting go of perfectionism hasn't been beautiful for me. it is so freeing because you can feel it physically in your body. You obviously feel it mentally and emotionally in your spirit when it comes to just like, wow, like I can just be myself. Like one of the best things that's helped me is actually this YouTube channel. So before this YouTube channel, and actually also before seeing other people who were doing the same thing, so I got to give credit to other YouTubers who get on here without having to put on a lot of makeup or having to present themselves in such perfection. For those of you who get on and you love makeup, cool. My daughter loves makeup and I'm a fan of makeup, so I'm not knocking people who wear makeup. But for others who just get on there as is, it was so inspiring to see so many people still being respected and listened to, no matter how much makeup they had, or even if they had on, you know, pajamas or whatever, because, you know, so that was very freeing for me. And I just want to encourage people to let go of perfectionism because it's very rewarding. And this is the way we save the world. I really, that's a big statement, but that's a big statement. But like, well, yeah, that's a big statement. But I really think literally if every single person, ooh, what is, okay. I think that was something from the tree. All right, now what's that back there? I mean, it's got to be a bird, logically speaking, but still I don't like hearing just random noises behind me when I'm standing in front of trees and bushes and stuff. So anyways, what was my point? Oh, I do believe it would save the world, because if everyone released all that pressure, then one, we wouldn't be so confused. We would have so much more clarity. Our intuition would be so on point. It would be on fleek. Intuition would be on fleek because we wouldn't have so much pressure, so much confusion, you know, in our way. And we could be so focused. The world would be so focused. You would have people who are aligned with their deepest desires and dreams, living that life and being happy, and people would be living longer and all that good stuff. So, of course, I'm an optimist. Y'all can tell. But I like to balance it with, you know, data. So I give you a lot of data that's not the most positive. But at the end of the day, I do believe that we could make a big difference if people would just let go of these perfectionistic ideals and all the pressure. And how do you do that? That's a whole nother video. That's definitely a whole nother video. The practical way to let go of perfectionism in all areas of your life, in your career. And this is not to say you give up on your career. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying let go of perfectionism so that you can have those authentically aligned goals in all areas of your life. And when you are coming from a place of authenticity, then your career flourishes, your family flourishes, all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up there. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for always being patient with me and how my thoughts come out, because I don't edit the videos quite yet. I will start editing very soon once I'll be doing that. That's it, y'all. So, toodles. Bye.